Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we actually have a replay from one of my clanmates, UssxRequin. He's taking out the tier 6 USN the Monaghan, and as you can see, he is currently mid-tier, which is not bad. Being mid-tier is not the worst thing in the world. For the most part, fairly light on the cruisers and the battleships. It's quite heavy on the destroyers, and that's kind of something I wish they would address, because many times you do see battles where there are 5 destroyers on each side, and destroyers are a commodity, and they are extremely necessary. Well, I don't want to say extremely necessary, but they are extremely beneficial to have on your team, because they do provide spotting, they do provide sneak attacks, as well as capping. Capping is very important, as you can tell. UssxRequin is currently pushing in towards the C cap. Now, I've actually never played the Monaghan. I'm not very big into the USNDD line, and I just never really thought it was a good buy to purchase the Monaghan. So maybe that will change here in this battle, because I do know the end results, and that's kind of why I do or am showing this off, because it becomes very, very close at the end. So at the time, the enemy team is starting to capture C. No real big surprise there from that, and it does look like Requin actually does beach himself. I don't exactly know why, but he is protected, and he's actually able to shoot anything that is over to the right. Now, the island does have a little jutting out point, so it does probably make it a little bit more difficult for any cruisers coming down from the north to actually hit him there. So that's probably why he did it. And also, you can tell that he is actually not running the premium damage control or the premium speed boost. Now, the Monaghan actually does have defensive AA, which is very beneficial, because very little, actually I almost want to say no DDs below tier 6 really have defensive AA capable. So having that on your team is extremely beneficial, but unfortunately for us, we're not going to witness many in the way of actual shooting down planes. Torpedoes are incoming from the Acosta, and I believe here upcoming that warning is actually going to be tweaked just a teensy bit, and I will have to say that was extremely brave of him. I don't think I would have been so nonchalant with those torpedoes coming my way, but he does lay down smoke screen. Does mean that it will allow any cruiser to push in. However, more than likely not a lot in the way of any potential cruisers, and as I say that, there is the Pensacola just north of him. Now, the torpedoes on the Monaghan are very short range. I believe they only go out to around 5.7 kilometers. So very short range on those torpedoes, and he's actually doing a really good job avoiding getting hit. Monaghan actually opened up, which is very amusing. Kind of good to see, because not a lot of IGN drivers realize they actually do have guns. But Requin does go invisible. And this is something you definitely need to learn. Sometimes whenever a ship does go invisible, and it's hard to tell. It really is hard to tell. You have to keep watch of when the last time they shot. But right there, he was fortunate enough to actually get behind the island. But had he not, he would have been obviously been detected for a while, for the next 20 seconds, until he was able to get undetected. Now, Requin is actually doing a really good job. He's very well aware that the friendly team has A and C. They're well ahead in points. This is a very strong lead early game. However, it's not a guarantee on the win, that's for sure. So he is pushing towards B. At the moment, we are aware that there are 2 destroyers. There is the Minx and another destroyer as well. And it looks like he might be dropping some torpedoes. Now, I haven't actually witnessed this replay, so this is all news to me. So I'm going to be watching and enjoying it with you. Königsberg comes around the corner. Obviously, not a good time, so he does turn away. more than likely actually, is this Konigsberg actually gonna take torpedoes? Surprisingly, this Konigsberg actually took torpedoes. Holy crap. Konigsberg actually does have hydro. Maybe it was down, maybe it was on cooldown. But now this Konigsberg is extremely low in health. Looks like Requin should be able to get this kill. Looks like he aimed a little bit far forward. That's one thing I don't like about the USNDDs, is the fact that the arcing on the shells does actually switch over to AP to finish off the enemy. Konigsberg actually gets a kill. Very, very nice job there. That is kill number 1 for Requin. And once again, he's still detected. T-22 is now obviously in range, and probably not the best position for this T-22. More than likely, this T-22 really should be trying to disengage, because versus a Monaghan, it looks like the T-22 is definitely losing this battle, and he doesn't have a lot in the way of support. Does smoke up, does disengage, and is no longer much of a threat at the moment. But do have to be careful of any torpedoes. The T... wait, what? Really? Wow. Enemy or friendly good night now. Almost friendly torps Requin right there. That was extremely brave of him to try to drop torpedoes when ADD is coming near, or better yet, any ally coming near you like that is extremely brave. So yeah, I don't understand why that Gneisenau thought torpedoes were needed, because obviously the enemy destroyer is no longer within range. Now, while this was all happening, while you know the friendly team did manage to capture A and C, the friendly team has lost 5 ships, and the enemy team have only lost 1. Now, the friendly team obviously is no longer in the lead. Things are still dicey for them, and it looks like Requin is trying to do his very best, trying to take out the T-22, but the arcing on the shell is just so high arcing, it does make it very difficult to hit and land shots on that T-22. Going to drop torpedoes on the Pensacola. Does drop both salvos. Does slow up. It looks like he is trying to get his guns to get shots off of that Pensacola. Right now, the friendly team desperately needs kill, and as soon as I say that, they do get the Minakaze, but the Minakaze gets the Furutaka. So at the moment, they are still quite down on ships and on points. So things are definitely looking very harrowing for the friendly team. And it does look like the Pensa finally goes down to the friendly Atlanta. But at the moment, there are only 5 ships left on Requin's team. That includes the Acosta, the Atlanta, Gneisenau, and the other Gneisenau. They actually have 2 Gneisenaus. So at the moment, things are definitely not looking good. This is going to be very difficult for the friendly team to actually pull back, and hopefully they can. We'll see what will happen. Friendly Gneisenau is actually trying to take B. More than likely is actually getting reset because he probably is being detected. And it does look like the enemy team actually has a AFKer sitting at spawn at the moment, so that is going to prove very beneficial. Requin is actually reacting to this T-22. Looks like he's gonna try to push towards C. Looks like the T-22 is trying to disengage from this plane. Plane is both a blessing and a curse. Obviously has forced the hand of the T-22 and has alerted the friendly team to the fact that the T-22 was more than likely trying to push C. So Requin is pushing into C, has to make the choice of either pushing directly into C or going around the corner, depending on what ship is left, or better yet, where this T-22 is going to go. So things could not turn out the way you planned. This is the major thing. You do have to try to predict what your enemy players are going to do. Sometimes you can't out predict them, and sometimes you can't. It's either you outpredict their stupidity, or they do something entirely stupid that you weren't expecting them to do. It's difficult. It's difficult almost always trying to outpredict it as much as possible. So comes around the corner and no T-22. Looks like the T-22 has in fact given up. Oh, nope. Took a little bit for that T-20 to get turned around. Does think about torpedoes, but honestly at this you should just be able to kill this T-22. Is using AP, getting a lot of over penetrations, and I think really at this point it might just be better for him to switch over to HE more than anything else. And that's actually very surprising. It looks like the Monaghan actually has a bigger smoke detect than the T-22, but as long as Requin stays angled, the AP shouldn't do that much damage. Finally, they're detected. Does get a fire on that T-22. Should be able to take him out with little difficulty. Torpedoes already fired. I mean, a little bit high there. Does get another fire. That should be the killing blow right here. Nice. There we go. Fire actually does take him out. So, fortunately, the friendly team has actually managed to bring it back a little bit. They've taken out a few more kills while Requin was trying to take care of that T-22. That has ensured them points. Once again, the Gneisenau's are trying to capture B. And there we do see the enemy Nagato is an AFKer. Honestly, we'll see what Requin does. I'm very curious whether or not he will try to go for the kill. At the moment, I would almost always recommend at this point in the battle, going after an AFKer is not a high priority. Now, you can always argue saying whether or not the player will come back in and obviously alter the situation, but at the moment, the friendly team really needs the support of their USNDD, and it looks like Requin does go for the possible fires, probably trying to get some additional damage. Is detected, which does mean there is a destroyer around, and it does look like there is a smoke cloud in front. Getting a few hits, not doing very much. They have a loss their Gneisenau now. And honestly, he probably should stop firing because he is attracting attention. He's no longer to surprise any enemy DDs. And once again, the friendly team is now down on ship. Minx opens up. Very surprising. This Minx is extraordinarily low on health. And he actually opens up. Now, granted, getting hit is not likely. The shell arcing is very bad on US NDDs at this range. That is making it very difficult. And Requin does try to get the hit, but Minx wisely disengages, aware that he could easily go down. And it does look like Requin is being a little bit cautious. There is a battleship still to his left, and he does have torpedoes ready. Scharnhorst right there, very close. Probably should try to disengage as quickly as possible. Does drop his smoke screen, and unfortunately he was the one spotting the enemy Minsk. Scharnhorst comes around the corner, and let's see if he can get these torpedoes. I think he fired these torpedoes just a teensy bit. Oh no, he's gonna get maybe one or two. Not a bad call. Actually, he gets two there. Is that going to be enough to kill the enemy Scharnhorst? No, it is not. I actually don't know the damage on the enemy, on the Monaghan's torpedoes. Sorry about that. I had a little slip up there. But somehow the friendly team has actually managed to capture all three caps. Scharnhorst is now detected. And unfortunately, Requin was coming out of the smokescreen, no longer able to stay there. But more than likely, yes, there are these Scharnhorst torpedoes. Those probably are predictable. Minx comes back around, and right now trying to get fire on the enemy Scharnhorst would be nice. Also, taking out the enemy Minx also would be preferable. But unfortunately, he's just not quite landing, and he is extraordinarily low on health. He really does need to disengage if at all possible. Gneisenau now actually takes out the enemy Gallant. 159 points of health. Gets the enemy Minx. That is kill number 3. And he is still detected. Enemy Scharnhorst finally gets the hit on Requin, and that is unfortunately going to be game. The enemy team is now ahead. Well, ahead in ships, but the friendly team is actually ahead in points. Costa is going to be the second to last ship, plus the Atlanta. Let's see what's going to happen. Taking out the enemy Minsk is extremely beneficial because it does mean that they have no longer any ship that is capable of sneak capping. And what is this enemy Atlanta even doing? Oh my word. Map awareness. Map awareness. What is happening with this Atlanta? Finally realizes there's an Indianapolis right behind him. What the heck? Gets his guns turned around, but he's just sitting there broadside. But fortunately, he's actually getting overpenned. Switches over to AP to about Indianapolis. Oh, this Atlanta is going to go down. No debate on that. Switches back over to HE, which is definitely the much better choice at this time. Atlanta far superior as far as just out DPM. This Indianapolis managed to scrape by with 503, but goes down to the secondaries of the Indianapolis. All that is left is the friendly Acosta, and he is currently facing off against 4 ships. He has about 3 minutes left on the timer. Enemy team is starting to capture A and B. And if you can look in the bottom right hand corner, they are ahead in about 6 minutes and 45 seconds. They will win. However, there's only about 2 minutes and 30. Enemy team is trying to flip over the caps as quickly as possible. They are down almost 130 points. They have to somehow manage to get 130 points within 2 minutes. Not going to happen at all. The only option for them to do is to kill the friendly Acosta. And I think they're actually going to be able to pull this out of pretty much out of their asses, just because they're ahead in points. Let's see. Enemy team will win in 4 minutes. Not enough time. In about 2 minutes, the battle will end. Points are steadily creeping up. Fortunately for the friendly team, they still have the C cap. Probably the Acosta should try to at least defend. And now the chat is going on whether or not they will actually win or lose. Things are still going to be dicey. Acosta does probably the smarter thing of running away. Hate to say it, but in this instance, I think they're actually going to be able to pull this out. And Acosta is taking no opportunity. There's still an Indianapolis alive. Granted, it was still over at A. And by the time the Indianapolis even gets halfway there, the battle will be over with. And it's starting to count down. I think they have it. There is about 1 minute and 10 seconds left. And that is probably going to be a win. Very close game. Very beneficial getting those hits on the enemy Minsk. Unfortunately, the Scharnhorst did not die, which was highly unfortunate. Did a really good torpedo to hit there. But unfortunately, he was just not enough time to whittle down that Scharnhorst to be really beneficial. About 45 seconds, the battle will end. Enemy team is at 835 and 752 respectively. And like I said, I'm pretty certain they have this in the bag. I'm actually very certain they have this in the bag because I know once again the end results. So not a bad battle for Requin in this match. Did 379 points of damage, 3 kills, 3 fires. And what's very amusing is this Acosta actually gets solo warrior because he has won this match with 4 enemy ships still left on the team. And with that, that is actually going to be it for this battle. So thank you guys so much for joining in and watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jen.